So I got involved in network marketing when I was 36 years old. And somebody just asked me this morning, it's funny, I haven't been asked this question. He said, what, number one, he said, were you excited? And I said, yes. And he said, why were you so excited? I said, well, nobody had ever pitched me on anything where I could build a team. Like I sold real estate, you had an agent here, and there was never really any, like, here's your distribution. I was always selling, but then how do I actually go build a team? The first thing I realized is I was going to go sell a lot, so I knew I'd be better. And what I mean by that is, were you the model worth duplicating? Yeah, dude, I was going to go sell. Like, I was going to sell like crazy. Most of the guys who introduced me to business were either from Amway, a bunch of other companies out there, but a lot of them, like, they had these Amway principles. I never joined them. Amway. I was never part of Amway. I really didn't know anything about Amway when I was younger, but their principles made sense to me. Like when I first saw a guy grab a marker and a whiteboard, I was like entranced with what he was going to show me, because what he said was that was going to be my path to financial freedom. And I was like, all right, cool. Did I believe him? I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe him. I didn't think, I was right down the middle. Like, I don't know if he's telling the truth. I don't think he's lying. I don't know he's telling, but I want to believe him. And when he laid out for me a very simple structure, and that was the insurance business. I worked at a company a while ago, and I'll show you what he laid out for me, because it stays true to this day, you know, and because I was selling life insurance. I've been like 3 months in. I was knocking out a bunch of sales. I loved it. We were serving people. I'm a social worker by trade, so I was like, all right, cool. I like what I'm doing. I want to serve people. I call people up. Back then, we'd call them up, drive to their house, meet with them, sell life insurance. That's what we did. We go through the paper application. Now you have electronic applications. A lot of sales are virtual, over the phone, Zoom, the whole deal. Plenty of people still go face to face. But for me, I loved what I did. And he said, Sean, you love it so much. Why don't you teach other people to do it? And I was like, well, I'm sure I could. He goes, well, here's the key to getting wealthy he goes, I think in any networking situation. I said, all right. He said, well, first of all, this is you. So this is you. You start your business. That's you. The magic to the business, he said, is can you hire somebody and teach them to sell like you? And I was like, sure, I can definitely do that. He said, then can you teach them to go teach somebody else to sell? And I said, yeah, I can definitely do that. I said, but I actually said to him, but if I'm really good at selling, why don't I teach them? And he said, well, if you can't teach him or her to do it, and you have to be the one to do it with everybody, it's not passive income. Like, you'll always have to be the only one teaching everybody how to do stuff. He said, so go sell at a high level, make your money. In any deal you're in, the biggest override or spread you have is on you. No matter what you're selling, you make the most when you sell it. No matter how your comp grid is, you get to pay the most when you go make a sale. He said, so you're going to make your money doing that to fund your business, and then you want to teach them to do the same thing. But once you teach these guys to do it, then you can go get more people. I said, how many people should I be in with? Like, what does that look like for me? And he said, you minimally have to get to 12 wide. Now, I'll tell you what he said to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, we got 2 whiteboards and a 1. 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom. And my man over here, boom. All right. So, get 12 legs. And I said, why do I want to get 12 legs? He said, you'll only be able to effectively work in 3. Like, you'll work really hard to help these people build a massive business. They'll hire this one, they'll hire this one. And then what'll happen is your width, he said, is your profitability. That's your money. So your money will come from the direct agents that you're able to make an override off of. And anything you do, when I was running a landscaping company, the more width I had, when they referred me people, I made less money. So if I had a homeowner that referred me 3 other people, he was like, he wanted to get a discount or get paid. When I went to some of these franchises, restaurants, they paid less to me when I worked with contractors, because that was more like building my depth. He said, depth is going to be your stability, right? So he drew his dollar sign, and then he's like, depth will be your stability when you get down these legs, and your width is your profitability. And I was like, all right. Then what am I doing? I ended up getting like 60 wide. I didn't want to do 12, so like I kept going wide, selling a bunch of insurance, making money, the whole deal, and worked really hard in these legs. He called my first leg my tap root. I didn't know what that meant, but it kind of made some sense to me to build your business off of that. And he said, never let this leg, ever let that leg be more than 50% of your distribution. I said, why? He said, you'll lose your credibility because that means you're not putting enough people into place. So if this guy's really good, I don't care how much you're working in this depth, like you can't, would you want any of your businesses to be 57% one client or one distribution or one? I was like, no, I wouldn't. So that made sense to me. And then what you did is you ranked them from strongest to weakest. So this was like your most productive and least productive out of all the people. Now, why did you do that? I used to redraw my group out like every day because I wanted to know where to work. Now, just because this guy was here this day, he could go out and maybe be number one in sales and then recruit a bunch of people. And before you know it, you're like, all right, wait a minute. Look what he's doing. And he's got these people building some depth. Hell, now he's my second leg, depending on how these are all structured, right? And then also taught me to work depth effectively, meaning I found people in these groups that were really good and worked down there supporting my man's business system. Like, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to talk to you, meet with you, train you, do everything I can while I'm telling you, like, I'm trying to help build this guy's business. And if I'm helping build his business, why wouldn't he want me to do that, right? So your width profitability, your depth of credibility, and then what we did a lot of was competing because people tend to like to compete, but in a healthy way, meaning like most of the people I worked with at that time, they were full-time. They were doing this full-time. So I had a very specific structure, how many sales, how many dials, how many appointments, all that, a success plan for full-time people. Then part-time people, I really didn't like, if my man over here, this man or woman over here was part-time, I was kind of like, I don't know how many hours you can put into it. I have this, mine was like 20 appointments a week, how many dollars you gotta make, whatever it takes, but if that's 200, how many hours a week you work, 40, how many people should you recruit a week, 20, like we walk through all that and look at all those, then we look at premium and how much you got paid per app, the whole deal, and then we broke down every application, see what you're making per application. But if you had to understand that, I needed when people ask me, why were you so successful when you got into business building and building teams, because I found a boilerplate that worked. And then I started to understand the psychology of it. Did I make mistakes? I made plenty of mistakes. Sometimes I wanted this guy to win so much, and this guy wasn't working. And I'd get frustrated. And I'd be like, hey, bro, like I'd talk to both at the same time, like, you're not working, why aren't you working? And then I started to learn a little bit of diplomacy, a little bit of like, let's do this together. It's not a football team. I get he's not doing anything, and I'm kind of pissed. But I just kind of decided everybody responded differently to certain leadership traits and certain communication styles. So I started to learn those things from people. But when you're in this, enamored me. This was like a scoreboard when I was playing baseball, football, coaching baseball, football, basketball. This was my scoreboard. And then I'd have like every month I'd have my annual premium goal. Let's say we're starting out, I was trying to do 250 a month. And then I had a goal for every month the rest of the year and what we needed to hit. And then if we were up, so your leg would be drawn, if I redrew this, if you grew that month, you'd be in green. If you went backwards that month, you'd be in red. And not only were leaderboards effective, but if you went up or down was very effective. So it's like, okay, you did X amount this month. Yeah, but were you up or down? Well, I was down, but okay, I understand you're bigger than most of these other guys, but your business unit is down. How do we ensure you don't? Because what I've learned about business, as long as you never take a step backwards, life is good. I don't always hit my goals. I just won't go backwards. And I can tell you in like 30 years building businesses, real estate, property management, waste management, life insurance, dude, I don't know many months in 30 years. And it wasn't a year or two that the company I ran went backwards. The agency I ran went backwards. My personal production went backwards. I just didn't go backwards. And that was always and I heard that when the gentleman laid this out for me. He's like, he asked me, he said, you play football? I said, yeah, what position? He said, linebacker. He said, what was something you remember from playing linebacker? And I didn't realize he was setting me up to give an answer. I said, never go backwards. Just everything is lateral or forwards. And he's like, that's how you gotta run your business. Never take a step backwards, never cower down, never bow down. Just keep working really hard. Taught me a lot of things, like when people ask you questions, they ask you questions for two reasons. One of two reasons. One, they genuinely want the information. Two, they're trying to mess with you. So if I'm doing a meeting and somebody's like, well, if I hire this guy, how do I know he's going to do anything? And they ask me a bunch of stupid things that aren't really a question. I go, hey, man, if you don't mind if I ask something. My buddy taught me that either you're asking a question because you want the information or you're trying to, like, mess with me. And I don't let people mess with me for no freaking reason. So do you want the info or you're just trying to mess with me? Like, you have to be able to, so you have to be able to tuck your ears in and know that this is foreign to a lot of people. It was foreign to me until the age of 36. And what I used to recruit, honestly, was bank statements. That's what I used. So when I hit my friends up, these were all friends, warm market, cold market. I recruited once I got you. I was like, hey, let's talk to people you know. Let's talk to many people you know. 100 reps, call them up. He'd be like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, well, I'm not uncomfortable. I'll call them with you. You can just be there. Let's try to recruit them. Then we get this guy in over here, this girl, and they recruit some people. And we just kept working as deep as we could to find people that wanted to be in the business. And sometimes this guy or girl did it, and all these other people weren't around anymore. And this guy was directing you. So what? You're just, it's like recruiting for a very good football team, very good baseball, basketball team. Recruit as many people as you can to see who's going to stick. When your team sucks, you're happy that anybody walks through the door. But when you're good, you're like, let's recruit 4 quarterbacks. Why? We don't know who's going to start. You're like, damn, all 4 of them are almost all Americans. It's like, yeah, but we're one of the best college football teams in the country. Everybody wants to play. We develop pros, yada, yada, yada. That's how I ran my business. We're going to have the best franchise there is, the best business. Why would you not want to join us? And I did it fearlessly. The struggle for a lot of people is they're so afraid of everything. And if I can teach you to be fearless in sales, where you make your money, why can't I teach you to be fearless in talking to people? And I want to be part of it when they say no. So you realize that they say no to me, and I'm running the agency. I go, hey, man. Hey, Tom, Sean, I'm sitting here with your buddy, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, say what's up. Hey, man, listen. Andrew's working with me. We're helping some people out. Middle America, it's great. We're some name brand companies. Boom, boom, boom. Here are the companies we work with. Just wonder if you're keeping your options open to make some extra money outside of what you're currently doing now. Yes or no? Well, it depends on what it is. I got it. But is it yes? I got it, Tom. Yes or no? And I taught him that cadence. I taught, like, dude, what does that even mean? Yes or no? Doesn't depend on what it is. If your answer is no, is it, oh, no, well, it depends. I know, Tom, but would you be open to any options to make extra money outside of what you're currently doing now? If it made sense, it was a good option. Are you open? Yes. Got it. Thank you. Man, I love you, Tom, but I hope you're not always this much work. Damn. All right, Tom, here's what we do. Now, you start the conversation. Tom can get mad at me. Tom may never mad at me. Tom will like, don't talk to me that way. Dude, I'm just trying to find people that want to move. When this guy, Jim, asked me if I would keep my options open, I said, absolutely, because I was. He told me what it was. He told me to go to a meeting. I needed to make money, so I was excited. All I'm trying to do is run through as many people in the world as I can and find the people that are trying to make some extra money for their family. Do I tell people it's perfect? Absolutely not. No matter what I'm doing, do I tell everybody it's for everybody? Absolutely not. Do I say everybody will be successful? Absolutely not, because that would be a lie. And on top of it, by the way, it's not true, but on top of it, what if I said that? Winners will be like, that's weird. No, like you're just saying like everybody can get rich without doing any work. I got you. I don't trust you, bro. And people that are not winning their life are like, sweet, no work, I get rich. Who believes there's no work and you get rich? People that don't want to work. And that's okay. That doesn't make, I'm not judging anybody. But I'm saying in the game of making money, that means you're losing because you're looking for something that's not there. And then I'm excited. I was excited about this. I'm excited to this day. When I talk to somebody about what they can do in their life, and I hear that they were here, and now they're looking to do here. When somebody's like, man, I saw what you were doing. I asked how you did it, what industry you're in, and I was interested because my mom and dad, we weren't able to make that kind of money. Just like I was like, my mom worked really hard, but we could never, like, couldn't get a house and couldn't get ahead. I'm like, dude, like, how do we do that? I found other people making money, and I asked them business principles, and I learned, and I educated myself, and I wasn't afraid to ask questions. And we teach people to do the exact same thing. It's all about building the self-image while you build their bank account. If you can't build the bank account, you ain't never gonna build the self-image. I tell people, come work with me for 90 days. Follow the blueprint I give you, work for 90 days, put the hours you need to put in. If you do not have a good financial result and you truly believe you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, quit. Like, I'm not, and that worked well for me, because other people would beg people to stay with them. They weren't generating them income. I'd rather be in a meeting with 20 people that are making money than 812 with 4 making money. Because 808 hate me, or hate what I do, or struggling, or already negative, and I don't want to be responsible for that. Yes, I would make money if they still hung out and wrote a policy here and they sold a book or sold a house or did whatever. I don't want to live that way. So we're going to do a lot of talking. Be careful. I'm excited about having a whiteboard. Not going to whiteboard, it's a problem. Give me in front of a whiteboard. I'll talk for hours. I traveled all over the country doing meetings, and I set my business up like this. I saw a Southwest napkin with this triangulation of 3 cities in Texas. And I was like, it's down a little bit. I put it up here. And I saw it, and I was like, all right, Boston, Philly, and Baltimore. And I would travel every month to those 3 cities to build my business, put as many people in the business as I can. And more times than not, when I started, nobody showed up. But then I went from 0 attendees to 2 to 5 to 20 to 40 to 100 to 210. Then I started a recruiting call every week. It took 7 minutes to explain what we were doing to make money. 7 minutes. First call 10, 12. By the time I got rolling 6-7 months into it, 350 to 400 every single Sunday. Why Sundays? Most people think about going back to work. So I found distributorship, any networking, any marketing later in my life. Hope you find that earlier. We're going to talk a lot about what works and what doesn't work. I know that the last company I launched was $700 in my pocket, and I had me over here. And now we'll finish this year at about 800 million in paid premium. Our first year we did about 11 million, which wasn't terrible for the year, but now we're doing 800 million. So I know what it looks like. I know how to help people go make money, build their business, build their wit, build their debt, maximize their comp plan, recruit people, live fearlessly, go sell, go recruit and do their thing. You're going to hear us talk a lot more about this. We want to help you build your business. I get in front of groups and teach them this, challenge them, role play it, questions, teach them to ask questions, get them out of their comfort zone, build them up as people, because that's what life's all about, leaving this place better than you found it.